audits. The audits have the district responses. Those responses often are not accurate and often are not carried out. It looks good piano-wise, but how would you know if the district actually did it? So what I'm suggesting is, and I'm recommending, that that be part of the scope of the audit. Item 6, review the effectiveness and compliance of the CBO operations with Ed Code section 15280. That has requirements of what you're supposed to do as an independent committee. I would like the auditor to opine on that. We know the district does not put documents on their website that are given at the committee. That's illegal. Every document that's presented at CBOC meeting is supposed to be on their website. Item 7, review the annual report. We know the draft annual report is under consideration. There was a meeting on Friday in the subcommittee. It came to the last meeting, which is really inaccurate. They said that they spent $300 million on $150 million Measure M proposition. I would like the independent auditor to look at those annual reports because they are wrong. There's misleading information. There's inaccurate information in those reports when you issue them. 3 years you never issue it. That's a legal requirement. You're supposed to issue them every year. 3 years you didn't even issue it. You're a year late in issuing the report. 8, review the sale of bonds. Determine that they comply with Education Code 15140. This is the new law that was just passed in the last session. It says you're not supposed to have a debt to principal ratio of more than 4 to 1. I would like the auditors to tell me that's correct. Item 9. I'd like the auditors to look at the compliance with Ed Code 15142.2 in regards to capital appreciation bonds. We know in the past the district has issued capital appreciation bonds. This substantially increases the cost of the bonds. Item 10. Have them look at the 15146 in regards to notice requirements on the sale of bonds. Are they adequate? Are they correct? Are they in accordance with the law? I'm on page 6, item 11. I would like to have them review the sale of bonds and determine if they comply with the government code section. Now, this is the government code in regards to maturity. You cannot have 40-year bonds if they're not authorized and a justification made. This is new law also. This all came out in regard to the Padway. When the Padway issued bonds over $100 million, they cost them $1 billion. It was a 1 to 10 ratio. And all this legislation came about in terms of capital appreciation bonds from that. Item 12, I would like them to attend meetings the Board of Trustees is requested. Item 13, I would like to request CBOC meetings as requested by the CBOC, not by when the district decides whether the auditor can meet with you. Item 14, I would like the audit subcommittee to be able to have the auditor meet with them at their request, not dependent on the district saying, yeah, they can come to your meeting. I think as an independent committee, you're entitled to that. Item 15. What I've done here is I've corrected the dates that are wrong in the scope, and I put due dates. And generally, I've had the due dates 3 months, except for the fiscal 14 audit, which I gave 4 months, because I don't think you should go out the 9 months is authorized by law. The law says they have 9 months. I don't think you need to wait 9 months after the end of the period to have an audit report. So I'm suggesting 4 months for the fiscal 14, because we're a little behind, and then I'm suggesting 3 months for the balance. Item 16. Review the status of implementation of findings and recommendations made by Total School Solutions. They have 11 years of recommendation. A lot of these have not been implemented. Why don't we have them go back and tell us which ones were done, which ones weren't, which ones make sense, because you've got new eyes coming in. So why don't we ask them to do that? It seems to me it makes sense from a taxpayer audit perspective. Item 17. During the fiscal 14 audit, I would like them to look at internal controls. And everybody will say, oh, every audit looks at internal controls. I have copies of the audits here. Every audit opinion that was issued last year by the district's auditor, by the performance auditor, and by the finance auditor, it says we do not give an opinion on internal controls. We didn't notice anything, but we do not give an opinion on internal controls. That's in every opinion, I have it here. The district has never had an audit of the internal controls, because the audit of internal controls is governed by Audit Standard 5, which prescribes what you have to do if you give an opinion on internal controls. And, you know, the accountants and CPAs here know what I'm talking about. Item 18. I think the audit subcommittee should participate in the entrance conference with the auditor, at which time they would present their written audit plan. The yellow book requires the auditor to prepare an audit plan where they assess the risks in terms of developing that plan. I think it's reasonable that the audit subcommittee have an entrance conference. You see the schedule, you see when they're going to have drafts, you see when they're going to finish, and you see their plan. Item 19. Present at each entrance counter a list of specialists that they need the qualification to use. The yellow book standards 16 or 642 through 46 prescribes exactly. And what I'm talking about here, you've got financial auditors who don't understand or don't have the expertise in construction. I know we've got issues with our roof bids. You need somebody who understands roof bid specifications. And that is not a fiscal person. You need a construction person. And the yellow book provides and requires that you need those kinds of expertise outside of the people in the firm. You get those people involved. And what I'm suggesting is that as part of the entrance conference, the auditors tell us who those people are, if any, and why they're needed. Item 20. That you, as the audit committee, participate in the exit conference, at which time the auditors would present the final draft audit report. You have the district, you have you there, you have the auditors there, you go over it and say, okay, are we done? Has everybody commented? Did they give you a comment? And we put it out. In item 21, I said the district, the audit subcommittee should participate in the evaluation of the auditor's services in January 05 and 06. That will be consistent with what Mr. Coyne said in terms of the option of canceling the contract. I think that should be in the contract. It gives you a contractual right to participate in that evaluation of the audit. I'm done.
Okay, let's go, Martin. Let's get to the responses and the committee.
Well, first I'd like to thank Mr. Younger for his kind remarks. And it's always been a pleasure working with him too. The reduced scope of the audit, the cost was reduced, not the scope of the audit. We went up to, this is the first time we went up to, I'd say bid, always by mistake, well, someone hops on me. So when we went out for RFP, the proposals that came in were much lower. So if you look at the scope before and after, the scope did not decrease by 75%, the cost did. So I'm not gonna say, you know, they want to remain competitive, you know, whatever firms. So it's a misstatement to say just because the cost went down by 75%, the scope was not reduced by 75%. There was a comment about Mr. Fay, and his expenses are being paid out of the general fund and the